Komið sæl og blessuð og velkomin í Sunnudagskastljo. Gestur minn í kvöld heitir Dorrit Moussaieff, en hún bauð okkur að koma og þiggja tesopa að Bessastöðum. Við þáðum það að sjálfsögðu með þökkum og sýnum ykkur afraksturinn af þeirri heimsókn hér rétt á eftir. En við byrjum að vanda á að skoða nokkrar gamlar ljósmyndir úr stórri ljósmyndakörfu frúarinnar sem hún geymir út í London. Sæl og blessuð, Dorrit.
Sæl.
Hvað talar mörg tungumál?
Núna ég tala ekki tungumál. Nei, fyrir ekki. Ég ætla ekki tala íslensku í dag. Mig langar ekki tala barnalega. Má ég tala ensku?
Yes, we can of course proceed in English, that's no problem. Yeah. But your mother tongue is which language?
My mother was born in Austria. Hún talar þýsku. Ég var fæddur á Jerúsalem. Í Jerúsalem fólk tala bæði hebrísku og arabísku. En heima ég var með nanny sem tala ensku. Ég læra allt saman.
Þetta mikið fyrir barn.
Ganski, þetta ástæða af því ég tala engin tungumál mjög vel.
En þú ert búin að vera að læra íslensku, eða ekki?
Já, því miður ég tala ekki nógu vel.
En er fólk nógu duglegt að tala íslensku við þig?
Nei, sérstaklega Ólafur, hann ekki mjög þolinmóður með þau. Hann talar varla með mér íslensku. Fólk á Íslandi tala mjög vel ensku. Så ég skilja ensku mjög vel. Það mjög erfitt en ég held að læra. En ég viss, ég ætla að vera mjög dugleg. Ég vona ég geti tala reybrennandi næsta ár.
Næsta ár, já. Kannski að fólk ekki vera duglegt að tala við þig?
Já. Ég meita það mikið því fólk tala með mig íslensku.
Já, nú ætla ég samt að byrja að tala ensku.
Já, gott.
How do you remember your childhood in Israel?
Depends. It was very mixed. When at peacetime, it was wonderful, very warm. I was in Jerusalem, but we had snow once in our lifetime. Lots of different smells, lots of different noises, very noisy. Everybody shouting. I spent most of my time on my father's shoulders until the age of 3.5.
Why on your father's shoulders? Why not on your mother's shoulder or lap?
My mother had another little baby, a 1-year-old at that time, and somehow I was just very close to my father.
What were you doing?
We spent a great deal of time in museums, in his shop, in archaeological digs, buying archaeological pieces, buying antiques. For a want of a better expression, hanging out. Everything, whatever he did, because he had to work, I did with him. And I learned an invaluable amount.
But then you had to go to school, I suppose.
Happily, for a very short time only. I was asked to leave after 3 months. My father was called by the teacher and was told, your daughter is stupid. Not only is she not learning, she is disrupting the rest of the class. Kindly remove her.
He must have been shocked to hear that, or disappointed?
Not exactly, because not a dissimilar thing happened to him as a child. We both have learning disabilities, attention deficits, and really, really badly dyslexic.
But at that time, nobody knew about dyslexia.
No, they didn't. But he knew it from his own experience. So I was fortunate.
So what did you do then? Did you get some education at home? Or?
We attempted to get some education at home, but I think most of the education I got was from my father.
Did he have a good sense of humor? Did you have fun with him?
I had fun with him, but I don't have a sense of humor. It's my worst shortcoming. I have no sense of, I'm quite devoid of it.
But you like to laugh,
We all have
though.
yes, I love to laugh.
What makes you laugh then?
Whatever makes me laugh. Now he's too serious. He used to make me laugh so much. Today he's working too hard. What else makes me laugh? Children, animals, everything really. Just ordinary daily things.
Right, but you're not the type who tells jokes.
No, neither do I watch comedy, and I don't understand jokes either.
Maybe we should take a look at a visit of ours to some of your friends in London.
Okay.
She's a wonderful friend. She's a loyal, kind, generous. You couldn't ask for a better friend. When you're her friend, you're really, she's there for you, always.
Everybody has a soft spot or a weak spot. Can you point at anything that might be hers?
Oh gosh, I couldn't possibly say it on television. I don't know actually. Oh gosh, what could it be? I can't really think of anything very much now.
She has told us that she has no sense of humor.
Doesn't she? No,
says
no,
so.
of course she's got sense of humor.
No, she's got a great sense of humor. She makes everyone laugh. She's being quite modest when she said she has no sense of humor.
I think that what you see is what you get in the way that she's very relaxed and, and smart. She's very quick, as everybody can see that.
She gives the impression of being a butterfly, but she's not. This is her act probably, but she has her feet firmly planted on the ground, always. She knows exactly what she's about and what she's doing, and she has a great sense of herself, I think.
But she might come across as, possibly a little bit more superficial than she actually is, because she's not superficial at all, actually. She's very hardworking and nice, and she's got the right values. But maybe when you meet her first time, you think that she's, a bit always happy, a little bit superficial. But no, she's not at all.
What values were mostly honored in your family?
Probably the same values that are honored now. Honesty, work ethic, resisting temptation. I think resisting temptation is one of the most undervalued values today. We are all surrounded by it all the time. Whatever temptation it is, whether it's alcohol, whatever it is, it's so important to be able to resist it, as good as it might appear to be at that moment. Look forward a little bit, and
I'm sure that,
stay on your path.
that you couldn't resist, trying to smoke when you were a teenager.
No, of course I couldn't resist it. When I was, actually I was young, I was 13. I took a packet of cigarettes, which somebody left in our house. My father was standing there. I was never afraid of my father. I did everything in front of him. I lit it, and he came over to me, took my hand, he said, "Dorrit, don't take these cigarettes. Let me give you good cigarettes, which I have. And I'll show you and teach you how to smoke like a grown-up, not like all these children here that are pretending to smoke." Take it out. He gave it to me. He said, "Now you always have to have a gentleman light it for you. Now put it in your mouth." He actually lit it to make sure it was properly lit. He said to take a big breath in and swallow all the smoke. And this is how grown-up smokes. I have never touched a cigarette since then. I coughed for a whole day. And it was an incredibly clever ploy of his.
Recently we saw a documentary about your father, Shlomo Moussaieff, and he seemed quite a character. And to us, maybe a rather tough guy.
He's tough, but he's incredibly soft. He appears to be tough on the exterior, but he's very soft on the interior. He's a wonderful man. I'm very privileged to have him as my father. He had to be tough. He was a prisoner of war. Part of his life was very tough, but inside he's really soft.
How would you describe your mother?
My mother's different. My mother is perhaps harder, both on the inside and the outside, but again, she had to leave Austria as a young child because the war was coming and her family were persecuted. Her father was a general in the Austrian army, which is very rare for a Jewish person, and a successful businessman as well. So she had to really grow up in a tough way. She then came to Israel at the age of, I believe, 14. When she was 15, her father died. She was the only person who could earn any money for the family, so at the age of 15, she started working. She worked, first of all, as an interpreter for what would then be the government of Israel, and then as Ben-Gurion's secretary.
So she was always a working mom?
Yes, she was certainly always, and still is.
If we go a little bit back to the dyslexia that you suffer from, or maybe not so much today.
I do, very much so.
Yes.
But part of the reason of me not being able to learn Icelandic, or at least the grammar, the way I want to, because I'm incapable of reading.
But some people say that those who are dyslexic have some super talents in other fields. Would you know what are your strong points then?
I can cook. No, I don't know. I can't. I actually have, I can learn things by heart very quickly. Have a very good long-term memory. Instinct. I don't know if it's because of it, but I follow my instincts greatly.
Can you tell what sort of person you're dealing with?
Yes, yes. I'm a good judge of character. Yeah. I don't look for anything special. It just comes. My training in business, I have had to learn who to trust and who not to trust. In the business we're in, until recently, one didn't really use papers at all, or signatures. It was purely by your word that, and still is purely by your word, that really big deals are done.
Your parents decided to move to London in the 1960s. Was there any particular reason for that decision?
I think it was twofold. First, the business opportunities for them really ran out in Israel. Israel was on and off war all the time. There were bombs falling around the place. Tourists weren't coming, and my parents' business being jewelry, not many people came to Israel to buy their diamonds or pearls. And second, I think they wanted to try and give my sister and myself a better education.
Did they succeed in that?
They very much succeeded with my sister. With myself, I had an education, not perhaps the one that they'd envisaged or prepared for.
But you went again to school there, in London?
For a month. That was very short-lived as well.
But
I knew every nightclub.
That's an education.
Major education.
You have said that you, when you were a teenager, you really didn't want anyone to tell you what you could do and what you couldn't do.
I just did what I wanted to do. I wanted to work, I wanted to earn my own money. I didn't want to have to ask my parents for it. I just wanted to be independent.
And did they allow you to be so?
They didn't allow me, but I took it. I allowed myself.
How?
I moved out of my parents' house, started working.
How old were you then?
16.
They must have been worried about
They
you.
were, unbeknown to me. My father was immensely worried. He actually had a private detective following me, trying to find out what I was doing. But I was fine, and I saw him every day.
So you were brought up by being dugleg?
We were all very dugleg. We were alle mjög dugleg.
And you still are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you ever want to just be lazy? And...
I do.
Yeah?
I love it.
Yeah.
Oliver doesn't know how to do it. It's very hard for him to be lazy. Sometimes on a Sunday, one Sunday every 8 weeks, I say, Oliver, please, can we just be lazy today? Just be layabouts, do nothing. And I think he has done it. Once he does it, he actually likes it, once or twice. But yes, I do. After I've worked really hard or travelled a great deal, I say, okay, today I'm lazy.
So you know that too.
It's actually very good. It's very good to do it. I'm learning it now. I didn't used to do it. I used to think that one has to fill every moment with some productive activity.
First, when you came to the UK, you must have felt a little bit isolated.
Yes, I was. I had no friends. I was not at school. I didn't really speak the language well enough. I didn't know the customs. I still continued shouting at people and not... I just didn't know that... I didn't eat properly with my knife and fork. England at the time was still a very proper, very close society and incredibly formal. I did, but it didn't take long.
But did you manage to become as reserved as an English girl soon?
No, certainly not.
And maybe you haven't even managed still today, or what?
No, I don't think. I think I could put on an act for a short time. But not for any great length.
Did you ever get in trouble?
I'm always in trouble. I'm always in trouble for some reason or another. I was in trouble today, in trouble yesterday. What did I do? That was...
But you were very young when you got married. That's not getting in trouble.
That was trouble. No, that was trouble, because I forgot to tell my parents about it.
Oh.
They read about it in a gossip column. A year later, my mother has still not forgiven me, but my father, of course, has.
Why didn't you tell them about it?
Oh, it's a long story. I'm not sure I want to go into it. But it wasn't... It's too complicated.
All right. But it lasted, though, for 10 years. Should it have lasted that long?
Yes. It should have lasted a little bit less. But divorce at the time was very hard. And it wasn't... Whilst it was a marriage on paper, it was not a meeting of two minds. And it was good. I learned a great deal. We were very happy for 5 years. But in the 60s in London and early 70s, it was such a crazy time. And again, with so much temptation. And my first husband became a compulsive gambler. He could not resist temptation. That's the great thing about Oliver. Oliver would resist temptation. If he makes a commitment, if he's such a straightforward, solid person. And I think that's really what attracted me to him.
Did you decide not to have children yourself?
It wasn't really a conscious decision. I was certainly not about to have children with my first husband. The gentleman whom I was about to be married to later sadly died. And when I met Oliver, I think we had our hands full, and it might have been a little too late. And look how many I have here in Iceland. I've got so many. I've got Tinna's children, Dadla's children. And I feel the whole country, every kid in the country is my child. Sorry, I hope the parents don't get upset.
But do you then believe that it was your fate?
Yes, of course, I believe in fate very much.
Do you then believe that it was your fate to meet Ólafur Ragnar Grímsson and get married to him and the rest of us Icelanders?
It was most definitely fate. Nothing in my wildest dreams would have ever made me think about it. In fact, when I sat next to him, the first... No, Oliver, forgive me, Oliver. No, I'm not going to say this. So you're saying you could never have imagined that this would happen? No.
I thought it would take somebody like Oliver to make her fall in love. And when she met him, she was... I think she was in love the first time she met him, the first time she saw him, because she called me and she said, I've met somebody quite serious.
Really and truly, the truth is that I had been telling her for months that really was so perfect for her and that she would have made Oliver so happy. And therefore, when she told me, I was just so happy. I cried, actually. I was so happy for her. It was such a lovely news, really.
All her friends were so happy for her because he's just a wonderful man. He's the ideal man for Dorrit.
But tell us a little bit about how you met Ólafur Ragnar Grímsson for the first time.
I sat next to him at the lunch, and throughout the entire lunch, despite him telling me what he did, I thought he was the Finnish ambassador. I didn't find him particularly interesting.
But your mind was somewhere else, right?
Completely. My father was in hospital. It's the last thing I wanted. I so much wanted to get out of that lunch. And he asked me what I did, so I just said, I'm a journalist. He said, well, will you come and write about Iceland? I wasn't particularly interested. And then I ran into them that's why I believe in fate. The next day, somewhere where I shouldn't, at Yehudi Menuhin's memorial service, where I really had no business going, I was dressed in jeans and a sweater. And I ran into him, we spoke for 20 minutes, and somehow something happened in those 20 minutes. Then it went from there on.
But one can easily speak to someone for 20 minutes and then never see them ever after. Did you take the initiative to meet him again?
No. He rang me the next morning and asked, he said, I meant what I said, I want you to please come and do this article on Iceland. It's a great country. And he started telling me with such enthusiasm and such love of what Iceland is all about, that I said, okay, I'll come. I think he asked me when, and I said, well, this was in the middle of March. I said, well, I could come sometime in August, and he didn't really like that answer.
But were you at this point ready to meet someone and make a commitment to some other person?
Commitment? Most definitely not.
No.
But ready to meet someone? Obviously, as we see it now, I must have been.
We saw you first in photographs in the press, and you were this very mysterious person and nobody knew who you were for a long time. Was it awkward for you to be here and kind of a mystery woman?
No, it was rather wonderful. I didn't feel I was a mystery woman, but I did tell Oliver that I did not want anyone to know what his weird job was. I did not want it to get into the gossip columns in England. And I would appreciate it if we kept it low-key.
How long did you manage to keep it like that?
In London, none of my friends knew for over a year.
But here, at some point, Oliver asked the people of Iceland to give you to some, if I translate it directly, emotional space, as is a famous term in Icelandic right now. Do you feel that the people gave you the time and the space that you needed?
Yes, people of Iceland are incredible. They did much more than that. They were incredibly patient.
But did you need so much time and space for yourself?
Yes, I think one could never have too much time and space for oneself, yes. And Oliver certainly did. Oliver had just come out of a really traumatic experience. Neither he nor I were ready for what was to happen. So I think that the less public scrutiny, the better. And certainly I did not like public life. I really didn't want to have to watch every word I said and everything I did. Or think before I spoke.
Which is not in your character.
Not in my nature, no.
But at first, when you were appearing with the president as his girlfriend or fiancée, were you shy?
I don't know if shy is the word, but I certainly didn't want... I certainly don't come from a place where it's comfortable for me to just go and talk to people whom I don't know. And I didn't want to invade anybody's space. I thought it would be much better if they would come and talk to me. And it rarely happened. So I started talking to people.
So you did?
Yes, I wasn't comfortable doing it. I'm still not comfortable doing it. I'd rather people come to me and talk to me.
But did you feel that people were kind of suspicious?
Yes, certainly some people wouldn't shake my hand. But it's perfectly understandable under the circumstances. Why should they be welcoming to a complete stranger just because their president happened to like her?
Did you actually make an effort to try to find out how late Guðrún Katrín dealt with her role as First Lady and try to learn from that?
No, because it was evident for me from the beginning. We were two completely different people. I wouldn't dream of in any way suggesting that I could do anything that she does. I think she was incredibly wonderful and was extraordinary at her job. She was voted for, as well as Oliver, not just Oliver. And I wouldn't begin to presume that anything she could do, I could do anywhere near as good. No, I'm a different person, I have to do different things. Certainly not in her footsteps.
The role of the First Lady, how would you describe it?
The First Lady in Iceland traditionally has never had a role. I think that the person makes the job. I would like to be able to fulfill the needs of different sectors of society, especially where perhaps there was a vacuum left by different entities. The easier thing for me is, and I will do this whether I was First Lady or not, if one day I'm no longer First Lady, I will still continue with this, is to market Iceland abroad, to market its products, its people, its air, its water, its vegetables. One day I hope there will be nothing that Iceland will not either have or manufacture, including its spirit, its arts. It's energy. But I would like to also to try and provide some kind of help for the people that are fátek, and ekki bara fátek, líka ermina, people that have something lacking in their lives, that have either lost their way, are into drugs or prostitution. We've just seen what happened in England to 5 young girls that were prostitutes. I mean, these girls are no worse, are no better than anybody else. They have just fallen into this line of business because of circumstances. The wrong choice, the wrong turn in life can often bring you to a place where you really have no business being and can get out of with just a little bit of help and a bit of cradling, a stronger framework, and maybe just some guidance. It would be wonderful if there could be a role like this created for someone like myself, or if there could be a vehicle of which nobody needs to be embarrassed about what they have done, what they're doing now, however ghastly this might appear at that moment, if they genuinely want to get out of it. The help in a small society like Iceland should be provided. I think that probably it would be a much easier task than is actually anticipated, because once people are confident enough that they will not be judged, no action will be taken against them, especially with things like drugs. It's the drug dealers, not the victims, that are at fault. The same with prostitution. If a 16-year-old girl goes and sells her body, it's usually is because she's got no other option.
So what you are asking for is a tighter safety net than we already have.
Yeah. Much, much, much tighter, less judgment, more openness, less embarrassment about talking about problems. That is another thing that in the East, in the Middle, everybody talks about their problems quite openly. I mean, here, it's almost embarrassing to talk about things. So I think part of it is having it out in the open and asking for help. I cannot stress how important it is. Something isn't right, ask. You can't fix it yourself, ask for help from someone else.
You are told to have initiated a visit to the aluminum plant in Straumsvík, and that was the first official visit you went on as First Lady of Iceland. Why did you choose that place particularly to go to? I
know Runway. I admire the way she works. She's got all these extraordinary men working for her. It was close by, and was an extremely rewarding visit.
Og það var svo skemmtilegt að sjá hvað hún náði fljótt sambandi við fólkið. Og það var líka mjög gaman í þessari heimsókn sem var svona prófraun svolítið hjá henni að fara ein af stað á Íslandi. Hvað þetta gekk allt saman vel og hvað hún var sko hyglaus, hún stökk upp í stóra vinnuvél, bara 1,50 og komin upp í vélina og bara kíkja á útsýnið og hérna, svo fór hún að tala við fólkið og spjalla við það og það sem var sérstakt við hana fannst mér umfram aðra sem ég leiði þarna í gegn sem er nú orðnir margir á 15 árum að hún horfði á fólkið og hún náði strax að átta sig á því hvernig því leið og hvernig hvernig fyrirtæki var út frá fólkinu. Það í þessari heimsókn meðal hans, og oft hef ég séð það, hún mikill businessmaður, hún businessmaður alveg fram í fingurgóma. Hún horfir mikið á lífið og tilveruna út frá viðskiptum og út frá því sjónarmiði. Og hún mjög snjöll í business. Og það sér maður mjög fljótt að hún svona veit alveg hvað hún að tala og veit líka sín takmörk. Hvað hún kann ekki og þarf að spyrja og hvað hún kann. En hún les fólkið mjög hratt og vel.
She says that you obviously are a very clever businesswoman. Do you see business opportunities in every corner?
I look for business opportunities in every corner, and there are very, very many more in Iceland. Yes, that is correct. But I have been brought up in business. We were merchants for hundreds of years. So if I wasn't good at it, first of all, don't think I could afford to be First Lady of Iceland. But second, it would be with something slightly wrong if after all this time.
But what is the purpose of gaining money from business?
One doesn't go into business, at least I certainly didn't go into business to gain money. I went into business as a means to support myself and to create a business. Money is only a means to an end. It depends very much what one spends one's money on. One can spend it on totally frivolous things. As we've seen now, we have seldom lived in a world that is more consumer-driven. I am very much opposed to it. I see absolutely no... I fail to understand why so many people I know would spend such vast amounts of money on totally worthless things like clothes and cars, television set. The car's got 4 wheels, providing it's safe, it drives. It really is irrelevant what car it is. But it's a byproduct of business. Business brings employment to many people. It creates things. It's what makes the world turn around. And money is a byproduct. It's important to have it. It certainly makes one's life a lot easier. It doesn't make it happier.
But since you travel a lot because of your job and of course because of your position as First Lady, we found one article where you are the centerpiece from the San Francisco Chronicle. And
sorry, Oliver. We never thought anybody would see it.
But I want to quote the article and read it for you what is said there. As First Lady, she promotes a country she says has no terrorists, no pollution and no illiteracy. She asks me to guess who's going to win the presidential election here. This was in 2003. I hedge, and she bursts forth with her own fervent desire for a Kerry victory. It was a huge mistake for Iceland to be part of the coalition that went to Iraq, she says, and you can write that on the record. Is this still your opinion?
Yes, of course, it's still my opinion, but I'm not supposed to get into politics, so I think yes, but of course it's still my opinion that the war in Iraq should have never taken place. That is, you don't fight people who don't harm you. If the object was a war against terror, all this did was increase terror in the world. And this was so easily predictable. Iraq was the one country that had no terrorists, where women had equal rights to men. Saddam Hussein was seldom photographed without a woman on one side and a glass of whiskey on the other side. Women could drive. Look what's happened to it now. And is the world any safer? Most definitely not. And most importantly, all those completely innocent lives of both Iraqis and the coalition that were killed for complete vain, for no reason. That's unforgivable. I know that part of the world really well. The culture is completely different. And perhaps if my husband will allow me at another time, we'll discuss exactly what happened. But yes, I had absolutely no doubt in my mind that this would be a completely futile, disastrous war. And I think we haven't seen the bloodshed that is going to happen yet.
You've also expressed your view that Jerusalem should be an international city. Why is that important?
I think it will go a great way to resolving a conflict, to show a sign of willingness to adapt to the world as we live in today. Jerusalem is a holy site for 3 religions. There is no reason on earth why it should come under the jurisdiction of one country. What is the problem with making it international, especially the old city, which is the part of Jerusalem one's talking about? No, I think that will show a great... I don't understand what is the reluctance of the Israeli government to do so. Providing, of course, it's policed by an international body like the UN.
But have you expressed this opinion to anyone that matters in Israel?
Yes.
What response have you had?
It depends very much from who. Some people would think it's a really good idea. Other people say we didn't die and fight here to have this city international. But I think it has to come from, back to our old friends, the Americans maybe, of an insistence of that to happen as part of a peace plan.
Do you practice Judaism?
I'm very much aware of my Jewish roots. Do I practice Judaism? No, I don't practice Judaism. I wish in some way I would, but it doesn't. I wasn't brought up doing so. I believe in God. I believe in God being everywhere, all the time, in you, in me. I believe in keeping the 10 Commandments and the elementary things that are in the Bible, but whether it's through Judaism, Christianity, Islam, or Buddhism, it is totally irrelevant. I mean, God is God, and how you get to Him is your own way. It's fine to be religious, I have no problem with that. I believe if there's any sort of extremism, keep it in your own home. And the most important thing is don't inflict it on other people. Let people feel free to do what they want to do, providing it doesn't hurt anybody else, and worship whatever they want to worship.
You said that you and Ólafur have very similar values in life.
Yes.
But do you express yourselves in the same manner? Do you always understand each other?
No, we seldom do. We express us, we're still learning. It's tough, it really is. We're still learning because we come from completely different cultures. If I don't like something, I just scream and shout for a minute and it's all gone, and he thinks it's World War III just because I raise my voice. He's just beginning to see when I point out to him that in Italy people are screaming and shouting all the time. And in cold countries people are a lot more reserved and perhaps don't express their opinions so vocally. Also I'm very spontaneous, I'd make a decision and do it straight away. I ask him something, his standard reply is Shawams Baratil. Shawams Baratil, why do we have to Shawams Baratil? Why can't you just say yes or no? And what is this? But it was minutest things. And there are many different things. Things that I would ask questions, I need to know some things, I need to know plans. In his head, it's an invasion of his privacy. Why does he have to tell me that now, not when it suits him? Very often there will be an appointment to do something, and I won't find out about it until the last minute. And he would expect me to adapt to it, and I'd of course get terribly cross for no reason.
I wonder if you were ready to get married to, Ólafur, and then the office and the whole of the nation.
No, definitely not. When Ólafur first asked me to get married to him, I said, well, the first time I said no. The second time he asked me was pretty shortly afterwards, probably about a month or two afterwards. I said yes, but not whilst you're in this job. I said, I love you very much, I'll marry you, but when you're finished being president. So I said, okay, well, that's no problem. That's only in 2 years from now. So I said, okay, well, then I'll marry you in 2 years. And then I got used to the country, and he decided to run again. I think he was doing, and I wouldn't say at peace with the job, because I'm still not entirely at peace with the job. But now I think I'm used to it, and I think that he's doing an amazing job for the country. He has a long way to go. There's an awful lot more that he can do. And I've reluctantly resigned myself to it. And I actually enjoy being, quote unquote, First Lady. I enjoy what I'm doing. I would love to do a little bit more. I hope that this year I'll be able to work a little bit less in London, but I do have a day job and many responsibilities. And maybe do more in Iceland. Certainly learn Icelandic fluently, if it's at all within my capabilities.
So, in the end, what are your future plans?
Today?
Well, later on, in the next year,
You know,
in the
I
next
have
decade.
found in my life to make plans is totally futile. Let's see what God brings. I would have never made a plan to be here. Iceland was not on my plan. At some point, I know that I would love to have a house here and grow wonderful Icelandic grænkaál, paprika, tomato, Icelandic vegetables, and have, as I've often said, have a farm full of animals. But we'll see. I'm very happy with whatever I've got so far. I'm very happy to have discovered this extraordinary country with its wonderful, wonderful people and air and water. And it would be my dream come true to see this country completely explore its full potential and employ its full potential. And be an example to the rest of the world. Þegar að vera mjög góða dæmis til alla heiminum.
Þakka þér bara kærlega fyrir spjallið.
Takk fyrir mig. Takk, það var mjög gaman.
Mín var heiðurinn.